Bro, some clips don't just feel creepy, they make you question what's really going on beneath the surface. Today, we're getting into spiritual awakening, the real assassins, Illuminati members, and the Knight Templars. Come on, man. This is Brosky Ray. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Here are some actual members of the Illuminati from these various bloodlines. And this is the Kennedys, JFK's sister married into British royalty. And here's JFK making his pilgrimage to the pyramids. And here's Guy de Rothschild. And I believe that this man is probably the father of either the Antichrist or the Antichrist John the Baptist. And here is Winthrop
What? Father of the Antichrist, John the Baptist? Say what?
Rockefeller. He supplied money to finance Clinton. He is reported to have the world's largest porn collection. And this is the Freeman Illuminati family. Gaylord Freeman in charge of the Priory of Zion for a while, and he was advisor to two presidents. So was Roger A. Freeman. John Jacob Astor, for instance, within a matter of a few years, had a monopoly on the entire fur trade. And here's some Illuminati from the DuPont family. Each one of us cannot escape using something made from chemical products that the DuPonts are involved with. They also have been major manufacturers of American gunpowder for our different wars. Here's Li Ka-shing, Illuminati billionaire in Hong Kong, who has quite a bit of things in Canada.
There's a scary reason why they call it the internet and the World Wide Web, because they're trying to become God through this technology. It's very scary. Let me prove this to you. We are all one consciousness, observing itself in a different mind and body. We are one observer, observing life through different angles. So we're one consciousness, right? So God is the observer, observing everything. He observes your life. He observes every life form. He is omnipresent. God is everything in everyone, because we are God experiencing himself. So that's why the internet is the exact same thing. Your phone is a digital copy of your mind. Every action, everything you've ever done on your phone has been recorded. It's basically your mind, but digitally. But it's all connected to one source. They are trying to become omnipresent by getting everyone onto technology, uploading their minds into these devices so they can become the all-seeing eye. They want to become omnipresent, just like how God sees everything, because you are God. They are trying to become God by observing everything and surveilling everything. That's why the one-eye symbolism can be evil, because it represents, on an evil level, surveillance and control. And that's why they call it AI, a single eye, AI. It's all imitating God's creation.
We are not God. If we were God, we would not die. God, by definition, is perfect.
What's that say? Wear a mask or go to jail. How long ago was this? None of y'all looked like this, y'all warriors. None of y'all did. 110 San Francisco arrests of mask slackers. Influenza masks. What year was this again? Over 100 years later, and we're still falling. It's the same playbook. And shouldn't we look cooler than them? That's from 1919. Shouldn't we look cooler? That don't fit. Atzlan, the Indian Babylon. You mean the one in Wisconsin? A recent report says the findings of an ancient brick wall at Atzlan, Wisconsin. That's in Wisconsin. This is the reproduction of Atzlan. It's sticks in the ground. They call it Babylon, and there's an ancient brick wall, and this is what we get as reproduction. That don't fit. The Capitol burned in the War of 1812. How much did that war even cost? I mean, we know how much it does today. How much did the War of 1812 cost back then? The United States spent $158 million on the war, with more than $90 million total going to the Army and the Navy. They were almost bankrupt by 1814. How do you recover from that? How do you recover from that? Spend more money. Okay, long-range planning for America's coast. Okay, to build forts, right? They spent $8 million and then $4.7 million. They spent over $12 million in 1816, right after the war. Right after the war, they said, Let's build forts up and down the coast. That's what we need to do. 1819, they started on Fort Monroe. It had 5-foot thick walls. What are the windows for? Are those, is that for cannons? Is that what, why do you, so many of them? Listen, gentlemen, I know we just had a war and we're so bankrupt, I don't even know how we're going to get out of this. But what do y'all think about stars? Do you like the shape? I'm thinking a canal all the way around it. Y'all like it? I know it's only been 5 years after the other star in Virginia, but what do y'all think about a star in Rhode Island? So obviously, I know how to build stars. It's 1829, gentlemen. We have technologically not moved a bit. Okay? So what do y'all think about building 2 of these forts starting tomorrow? 5 years later, I'm proud of y'all. We built a fort with 21.5 million bricks in sand in Pensacola, Florida. Fort Brosky with 13 million bricks. We're on fire, gentlemen. That was in the middle of nowhere. And while we're on the subject of in the middle of nowhere, Dry Tortuga is our next journey, guys. 16 million bricks. What do you mean I'm fired? What do you mean I'm fired? What do you mean I'm fired? That don't fit.
Yeah, history is repeating itself.
Humans are not alone. We have never been. And this show came out in the 1980s. Check this out.
The visitors are not our friends. They've come to rape our planet and kill us. They are not who they appear to be.
Look at that.
This is not science fiction.
Reptilian.
This is what they are. It's just a trick.
Stop that transmission! Stop this transmission!
I don't understand. There's something wrong.
People, you see how at the end, people were laughing when they announced it. These beings know most of you guys are so brainwashed that even if they announced it, most of you guys won't even believe it because you guys are that programmed. Everything is fake. Everything in this reality is fake. The government, the politics, everything is made up by these creatures. These beings are manipulating our whole reality and they've been here. That show came out in the 1980s, bro. The 1980s. They've been putting the truth in our face blatantly, like straight up in our face. And you still have the idiots like, no, it's not real. It's a conspiracy theory. You're a fucking idiot, dude. You really are a fucking idiot. These shows are blatantly showing you the truth. Whether you believe it or not is up to you, but they're telling you openly, this is what's going on, people. This is literally what's going on. All presidents are blood related. Why? How? Because these reptilian species, these beings, manipulated their blood so they're compatible with them so they can shapeshift into them to control us. If you guys just, I don't know, bro. If you guys just can't put 2 and 2 together, you're lost. You're honestly lost. It's 2026, even though time doesn't exist. It's 2026, and the truth is out there. If you don't believe it, you're just an idiot. I'm sorry. You're an idiot.
You know, it's not the eyes that are blind, but the hearts within their chests that are blind.
We found out that my trainer was a MK Ultra Canadian intelligence.
He worked in the defense research and development in the Canadian military, essentially working on psyops
Who's
in
this
the
guy?
Canadian military. This is Harley Pasternak.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, look, they tried to medicate me. I was exhausted. They wrongly diagnosed me. And they, when I asked them, how much lithium did you want to put me on exactly? It took them 4 days to answer because they were embarrassed about the amount, right? And I refused to take this, right? You understand that if I had taken the medication, I would not be here and it would have been, he was deeply troubled. We miss him. We love his music though.
Well, they would have Britney Spears too. I mean, look at
they would have Michael Jackson
or worse, yeah. So look at what they did. Look at what they did to Britney. When she went in, she was tired, she was exhausted, she was in a bad way. But 10 years of that medication
Is that Milo, the Canadian dude?
wrecked her brain. You can see it now. You can see there's not much of her left.
When a being is fully conscious and aware, they transcend the illusion of the physical material world of duality. Duality is seeing everything as independent, such as me and you, a this and a that, a here and a there, where everything and everyone is separate and not connected.
What?
When a being is aware that everything and everyone is connected and essentially one, then that being becomes aware of the self, the non-physical you, the one consciousness or energy. An inner state is then attained where there is nothing to trigger irrational and uncontrollable emotions, feelings, or thoughts. No one can push your buttons because you no longer have buttons to push. You become free and liberated. Imagine being supremely confident, but not arrogant or conceited. Imagine having total knowingness that you never need to be affirmed or validated by anyone. Imagine never feeling the need to convince anyone or prove anything. Think about never needing to argue or debate anyone about anything. Dream about never having the need to feel respected, never needing to be understood, never needing to be recognized or given credit for something you did. Imagine never being affected by what someone says or does to you, or doesn't say or do. Imagine having total clarity and certainty, but remaining completely humble, while at the same time, never having any doubts, fears, or worries about anything. Dream about always feeling joy inside and never being affected by external conditions, situations, events, people, or circumstances. Imagine being amused by everything and everyone, while always having an inner laugh and smile. For you actually see everyone and everything as simply an expression and an extension of the one universal consciousness that is all that is. And everything in life is just a play of that one universal consciousness. Think about how your life would be always feeling lighthearted and cheerful, without any concerns or stress, and never feeling the need to change anyone or anything in order to make you happy. Imagine being anchored in an inner state of peace, bliss, and certainty, regardless of what is happening in your life. Imagine being enlightened and self-realized. You can be this person. Kevin Trudeau.
Wow.
Spirituality.
I like it. I like it.
Is that state. Listen to that over and over again.
He said, we're going to borrow
Imagine
your consciousness and you're going to be gone for 20 years. And I said, no, I can't do that. I have my mom and dad and my family. I have a family. I can't be gone. And he explained, he said, no, you're going to go right back the next day. It'll be like you never left, but you get to live this extra time. It's going to be a huge blessing to you. You know, he had to ask. The gray that was in the room was a longer necked gray, not like the one that took me. Had a longer neck, taller gray, and he said, you have to get his permission, right, at some point. And that's when he asked me that, we need to borrow your consciousness. And then I said, okay, as long as you're sure, you're telling me,
as long as you give it
It
back.
was just like Fire in the Sky, the Travis Walton experience, where they laid me down on a table. He said, okay, we're not gonna do anything that's gonna hurt you. You're gonna be just fine. And they put a latex or thin rubber sheet over me, and the table sucked it tight. There was a vacuum. And then I couldn't breathe, and I opened my mouth and went, and it was in my, the vacuum had been, I was breathing in, and they took a scalpel and cut it so I could breathe. I thought, hey, I thought you said you weren't going to hurt me. And they said, you weren't hurt. I said, well, what if I could have choked on that? How did you know I was going to breathe in where you could cut it? And he said, because everybody does. Right. That's what he said. And then they cut out around my eye, which they had to do a test and see what my dominant eye. And then it was a gold needle that went in right by the tear duct and went bam, and which hurt like hell. And it felt like I was being sucked. It felt like, when you get punched and you see stars, It was that, but times 1,000. And the next thing I knew, I woke up and I had no memory of mom or dad or anywhere. I had complete amnesia.
Sounds like a demonic source. It's the asking of permission that's off.
There was just a big, it was so obvious that this was a portal too. The Travis Scott complete horrific concert that he had. They actually made it so where you had to walk through a portal of Travis Scott to get in.
The whole theme of this festival was a portal into hell.
Yeah.
And so you would enter it through his mouth. On the backside, it's a skull of him. Now, inside the mouth, when you walk through, there's imagery of descending stairs going into hell. Even the stage itself is a portal.
It's a portal.
It's a gateway into hell itself.
Why would you want to go there?
We edited down a video that you sent.
Experience that.
And then I watched it and I said, we're not going to air that. Because I actually felt this thing pulling at me. one guy that was interviewed that got hurt said as soon as the music started, and this is a quote, I'll read it, we all felt our bodies move forward. And that caused a trampling and 10 people to be killed and hundreds to be injured.
These kids thought they were going to a concert.
Yeah,
they were
right.
going to a convocation. This wasn't just a figurative, metaphoric portal to hell. This was a literal portal to hell where 10 people went to hell that night.
Yeah. You know, listening to his music is a portal to hell. What do you think the life experience gonna be like?
Everyone thinks escaping the Matrix means leaving the big city, buying land, building a cabin, and living completely off-grid. But the reality no one wants to acknowledge is much less glamorous, because the Matrix is not simply a physical location that disappears once you cross some geographical threshold. The truth is that the Matrix is in your mind. At its core, the Matrix is the collection of expectations and social pressures you have internalized and feel forced to obey in order to do one thing, and that is to avoid shame. That is what really keeps people trapped. People act like the Illuminati needs to set up constant surveillance drones and digital IDs in order to whip up the masses into mindless, soulless servitude. But the truth is that most people are already soulless slaves because of the matrix they have succumbed to within their own minds. At its root core, the entire system that sucks the life out of people and causes them to live lives they never truly chose runs on one thing: the avoidance of shame. And what exactly is the cure for this shame avoidance? The cure is to accept yourself as you are. Because when you do the inner work and love and accept yourself deeply enough, you stop internalizing the opinions of others. You begin to realize that most judgments people place on you are projections of their own conditioning, their own wounds, and their own experience inside the very same matrix. The same unconscious pattern of avoiding shame. And that is the key. You can begin escaping the matrix right now. The moment you realize this, it really can be that simple.
The Matrix.
The drug of choice by the elites in ancient Egypt was blue lotus, which grew upon the Nile. And so it basically made you hallucinate, made you trip out, made your astral body leave into higher densities. And so on one of the pyramids, what they got is like a tomb, and it's angled specifically to point at I believe the Orion system. And so the Orion, like star constellation or whatever. And these guys would take blue lotus, so ingest like these psychedelics, and then lay down in that coffin, which would deprive all their five senses of any sensory input. So they would go like truly within, high as fuck, and then their astral etheric body would basically leave the realm. And because they're pointed towards that star constellation, they would go there and somehow like meet some aliens or do some crazy shit and basically bring back knowledge and downloads and information and like technology from these places back into the physical realm, so into Egypt. They would literally do drug rituals. They would do the craziest rituals, almost all magic, like so much magic, so much occult stuff goes back to ancient Egypt. That's where it all started. They were doing some dark stuff, but they were also doing some like crazy, unique, like technologically enlightened stuff as well. Trippy stuff. Same.
What are you talking about?
They are dropping clues everywhere. And all of these clues are clearly leading to something that's not good. And we're going to go through every single one of them. Come right back to that. Shout out to Truth Seeker for finding this, by the way. United States of America, 1776 to 2026. If you don't know, that dating system is used for deaths. But we haven't even gotten started yet. Let's go to the next one. Launching the Genesis mission? Why should everything else is going to make sense? As in the days of Noah, right? All the interdimensional wickedness in Genesis 6. So of course, on their new coin for again 1776 to 2026, we see that ship and we had that really weird thing happen with this thing, right? But guess what? And now we have the Puritans on that same coin and dash 2026, the 250th year, right? But you know, when it comes to the Puritans, we had the Great Dying Off. Most associated with their arrival is called the Great Dying. It's getting really weird, huh? By the way, did you see this? They put this image on church of what's supposed to be Jesus. Do you really think that was accidental? Come on, do you really think that at this point? Finally, we have this like new Drake album or whatever, and of course the 666 holding his MAGA chain. Funny story about that. A bunch of these really big artists are actually warlocks. That's why they hang out with people like Marina Abramovich. And MAGA is the highest level warlock or witch in the Church of Satan. And the sixes are for Satan is being pushed by the White House. Or should it be called the Black House? I used to love Drake. I won't even let his music play in my car. People that push debauchery on children, no thanks.
Weird and getting weirder, man.
There's an unprecedented threat that we just found by accident. They were repairing a dam at Big Creek Lake. That is a 3,600 acre lake, a reservoir that holds about 17 billion gallons of drinking water. It is the main source of drinking water for Mobile, Alabama. And they found an explosive device just under the water line, accidentally. We don't have much more information than that, other than things are looking like they might get really serious.
I think it's an inside job to promote fear. What do you think?
People remember the Knights Templar as crusaders, warriors in white cloaks marked by a red cross. But very few remember how it all started, not with armies, but with 9 men. 9 knights who swore an oath in 1119 to protect pilgrims on their way to Jerusalem. At least that's the official version. What makes them interesting isn't what they built, it's what they were looking for. Those first 9 didn't defend roads for almost a decade. They lived beneath the Temple Mount, digging, searching, mapping tunnels under the ruins of Solomon's temple. And then history goes quiet. When they re-emerged, everything changed. Suddenly, they had Pope's blessing, land across Europe, and access to knowledge that reshaped finance, architecture, and even early science. 9 obscure knights had become the most powerful order in Christendom, almost overnight. Some chronicles claim that they found relics. Others say they discovered texts, fragments of ancient wisdom that predated even Mosaic law. In esoteric circles, it's said that they uncovered blueprints of sacred geometry, the principles later mirrored in Gothic cathedrals and in the rituals of later secret brotherhoods. The number itself, 9, is no accident. In Kabbalah, 9 is the final gate before divinity. In alchemy, is transformation before perfection. To the Templars, it may have been symbolized the completion of man before merging with the divine light. When the order was dissolved in 1312, the church burned their leaders, but not their ideas. Those scattered fragments became the roots of Western mysticism, coded architecture, and occult symbolism that still hides in plain sight. Maybe that's why people still whisper about Templars. Not because they vanished, but because they might have succeeded.
The Knights Templars were warriors.
Digital ID is coming. Check this out.
My ministers will also proceed with the introduction of digital ID that will modernize how citizens interact with public services.
What people need to understand is that the royal family, they're not really fucking royal. They're reptilians. They're controlling the planet, and they have a bunch of other families that are just like this that are controlling the world.
The Queen and Prince Philip are not human.
What?
I've been mocked, I've been laughed at, I've been attacked, I've been through every single thing you can imagine by trying to get this truth out there. I couldn't give a flying fuck what you react like. I am going to tell you the truth. They are reptilians. They shapeshift from human form into lizard form. I saw this with my own eyes.
David Icke speaks about them. Check this out.
Royal families interbreed because they're trying to hold a specific genetic code. And that code has to do with their hybrid nature, the divine right to rule and all that stuff. That's why they see themselves as superior to the rest of the population. But what happened? Humanity reached a point of maturity where it started to reject rule by royal succession. They had to replace that with another form of control. And so we had politics replacing royalty. They didn't disappear. They went into the dark suit professions, politics, business, and banking. And they've gone on interbreeding with each other ever since.
So yes, they interbreed with each other, and this is how they keep their bloodline the same. This is really happening, people.
Ooh.
They want people to have digital ID so we can all be slaves to the reptilian race. This is why I tell people it doesn't matter about your skin color. We're up against non-human entities.
Yep,
they literally want to
right.
control the planet, people. Digital ID, you own nothing. These beings control government, banking, media, big tech, education, healthcare, military, and entertainment. I tell people this all the time. They literally control the planet. Everything is controlled by these beings. The only way we get free is if we rebel against everything. Humanity in general. We all have to rebel, or our whole planet is going to be controlled by reptilians. They've been here. They're controlling everything. And this is not a conspiracy theory. This is reality.
In Genesis, Satan is called a serpent. Snakes are reptiles. So demons look like reptiles?
Play the game on God mode and you're creating your own reality at each and every moment and what you hope to experience that day, that's God mode.
Wow. I really want to speak about God mode because I think it's like a frequency that you can tap into. You've probably heard about Kobe Bryant, right?
Of course, for sure.
Yeah. So Kobe Bryant was going through like a very hard phase in his life. This was like during the time he had the trial. And, you know, he was going through like many allegations. He was on the news. And this was the time where he thought he lost his edge. Then he went to work with this guy called Todd Herman, who literally worked with Real Madrid, Cristiano Ronaldo, Kobe Bryant, Rafael Nadal. And basically what he did with them is he helped them tap into an alter ego. What is an alter ego? An alter ego is like when you create a character and you embody this character, like how does this person talk? How does this person walk? And it's basically the version of yourself where you're completely cut out from your narrative. So Black Mamba is Kobe Bryant's alter ego.
Right.
Another example is like how Rafael Nadal is a really, really good, nice person. And on court, you can't be a nice person.
Right.
You have to be like, completely focused. You have to be aggressive. You can't feel guilt if you're winning, because once you start feeling guilt, you self-sabotage and stuff like that. I think basically what this alter ego does is you tap into that frequency. And some people, when they can't tap into that frequency on their own, they basically create that alter ego. These professionals or these people at such a high level, what they do is they create this alter ego to tap into this God mode.
Great one. Very insightful. I like it.
John Kiriakou was having a full-blown, I know John, he was having an existential moment in front of me when he read that email. Yeah. He literally was like, I've never seen the guy speechless in my life. Yeah. I mean, guy's got stories for days. Yeah. He was speechless. Sends an email to one GMAX, Ghislaine Maxwell, saying any interest in being on the Shadow Commission. Wait, what? On 9/11, the membership list is secret. She responds, thanks for the invite. Unfortunately, I cannot be on the Shadow Commission.
A shadow commission. It takes my breath away. This should be the banner headline.
Release the underrated files and justice for the victims.
It has now been confirmed that America's number one,
it looks like brain,
strawberry brand is directly tied to cancer. Driscoll's, which controls 1/3 of all U.S. strawberries, gets sprayed with up to 371 chemical pesticides before it ever reaches your family's table.
They are coating your children's strawberries in mosquito spray and marketing them as organic. Nearly every U.S. strawberry begins as a lab.
Why though? Why?
Engineered clone blanketed in Captain, the exact same chemical found in paint preservatives, submerged directly into fungicide baths, allowing 3 separate carcinogens to seep deep into the flesh. And that is only the beginning. Those berries then get bleached in chlorine and sealed inside plastic so thoroughly that no amount of rinsing can remove the residue. Nearly 1/3 of the strawberries Totsi scanned came back positive for bifenthrin, a chemical that has been directly linked to cancer. Scan what your children are eating before they take another bite. Comment Totsi to scan any food for free.
And what's going to happen to them? Absolutely nothing.
Nighttime is the most prime time for the enemy to do incantations, cast spells, build an altar. Maybe that person has implanted some sort of a cursed object in your house to let them in, or you have sin in your house. That is an open door for them to enter in. They're astral projecting into people's houses. There are incubus and succubus spirits that are coming in. There are spirit spouses that come in and claim people who are alone. That's why it's really bad when couples are married, but they're not being together physically. And maybe one sleeps in one room and the other one in another room, and they're not physically being together, because the spirit spouse will actually come in and try to claim.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why, God doesn't, he always says we need to come together, right, on a regular basis, unless we're fasting or doing or in prayer, because God is not only saying that to keep intimacy, but he's saying that to keep out that.
Man, I just apply the blood and go back to sleep.
This work is killing me. This is insane. This is the worst place on planet Earth.
You see something at Langley Air Force Base that you have testified to Aero, to Congress, to Senate Intelligence, to even people that we're not talking about. You've testified to a lot of people officially, ICIG. You wanted them to know that this craft you saw, which you're thinking, maybe it's something we reverse engineer. The other thing you told me that I want to hear more about was the gold glow, because I've heard this over and over and over, like a lava lamp,
basically, yeah. The best way I can describe it is overlay. If you're looking at a lava lamp and seeing that flow, place a yellow semi-transparent lava lamp flow on this craft, making 90-degree turns and all over the craft, and it's just this yellow transparent, almost like smoke cloud, pulsating all around the craft.
So clearly a technology like Matthew Brown has kind of thought that either it's non-human intelligence technology, or it's something that we've figured out how to operate, and it's like a breakaway civilization. It's so advanced that this is something that's not acknowledged, even to Congress, the people that should have Did you physically see photos? Did you physically see these documents?
No, but because of how much was given to me and relayed, that the individuals that had relayed it, they were doing so because they were genuinely concerned for their life, because their careers were taken, their houses were broken into. I mean, computers taken, mailboxes gone through that. And again, they knew what I was going through at this time. They had given me enough information, and the agreement was that if they died, that I run with it and just blow the whole thing up. After I saw what I saw and I've experienced what I've experienced, I think most of us have taken the delve into all of this material, and you're like, I know this is true, I know this is true, I know this is true. Who else is saying these true things? Who else is relaying information that I know to be true to try and make sense of your own life?
The curse of the Power Rangers. There's a list of people who have put on the Power Ranger costume, and things have gone horribly, horribly wrong. The Red Ranger costume was doomed from the start.
That was my favorite.
This one is absolutely wild. He left the Power Rangers and started like dog training, got hired by a lady to come take care of the shelter, wasn't doing his job. She sent her brother over to go talk with him. The Red Ranger guy kills her brother with a sword.
What?
His roots. Full on, like in his head, I am a Power Ranger. The Green Power Ranger, remember him with the gold? And his brother, Eric Frank, did 5 episodes as well. After that, ended up ending his own life. Hui, the original yellow Power Ranger, she's driving around, gets in a wreck. Her friend gets ejected through the triangle window. She gets paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of her life. Hui, the yellow Power Ranger, dies. The curse continues. Zordon, he died of a heart aneurysm at age 43.
Oh my
Out of nowhere, the guy that played the Green Power Ranger, he ends up ending his own life.
God.
Like, people love the Power Rangers, but behind it, just darkness, dude.
I still love them.
How about the blue one?
When you ruin the vibe with critical thinking, I literally do this shit, bro. People will have a serious conversation about some bullshit, sports, entertainment, celebrities, all of this fake shit. And I'll come in and start talking about some real shit. Yo, did you know the vaccines had technology in it? Yo, did you know the food is poison and giving us cancer and diseases? Yo, did you know the school system was designed to make us factory workers and obedient to authority? Yo, did you know the government was behind Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring? Yo, did you know reptilians are controlling the planet? Yo, did you know religion was all created just to divide people? Yo, did you know politics is all bullshit? And this is literally the reactions all the time. It's hilarious, man. I kid you not. People start glitching in this matrix. Some people catch attitudes. Some people try to make you feel like you're crazy. Some people just stare and walk away. And I just can't get over this is them, bro. This is really them. Sheep with no self-thought, no critical thinking. This shit is hilarious, people. When I say we are literally living in a program, I literally mean we are living in a program. Because as soon as you bring up some shit that like is about some real honest shit, people start acting weird. Like the program in their mind starts malfunctioning, and they can't act normal or keep a conversation about something that's actually going on. This shit is hilarious, bro. Wake up, people.
Some people love the Matrix. It makes them feel safe.
Pay attention and listen, because the United States enters World War III in December, and here's the proof. Now, for the people who have not been paying attention to what the United States has been doing behind the scenes, the United States has officially made the U.S. draft automatic, and the registry begins in December. Now, here's the proof the entire world is going into a World War III scenario in December. President Putin said Russia is going to deploy the world's most powerful nuclear missile this year. And if you think you're going to avoid this war in December, the United States is already 10 steps ahead of you, because they raised the enlistment age to 42 years old. But if you want to get access to all the information early, make sure to follow this page right here to stay updated.
Where's my bro and sis from America? Is this true? Let me know in the comment, please.
And the Osirian is arguably the oldest megalithic structure in Egypt.
That place is crazy looking.
Totally crazy. And it's all fit together like jigsaw puzzle. Right. From what you see is just at the top of water level, but the water level goes down another 40 feet.
Do you know the conventional explanation to how those stones are cut?
I know it comes from Aswan, which is
500 miles away.
You know, not only that, but you have to go over a mountain range.
Right.
And then back down to the Nile if you're going to transport them. There's a lot of mysteries.
Nothing makes sense about ancient Egyptian megalithic sites.
Here are 4 pros and 4 cons of being a conspiracy theorist. I'm trying to save you some time. The first con is you may start to question everything and you might lose your footing. All right. In 2023, I realized that the earth was flat, and all kinds of other conspiracies, learned about Tartaria, and it made me question everything, made me question history, reality, everything. And so you can get derailed and not know what to think if you become a conspiracy theorist. Next con is people will start to think that you're weird. People who are still plugged into the matrix are going to think you're weird. They're going to think you're dumb for questioning science and accepted facts. Okay. And you might not be invited to things, and people might just think that you're just a conspiracy person, that you're way out there and you're unreliable because you go against the accepted information. So that's something you got to be aware of. The next con is you might end up becoming depressed. In 2024, I was depressed for maybe 6 to 7 months. I learned about the whole Matrix thing in 2023. And then 2024 is when I just was like, dude, like what? Like my face hurt. Every day my face hurt. That's how depressed I was. I'm like, God, where are you? When are you going to clean this up? A bro from church helped me to start to get over the depression. And I didn't tell him that I was bothered and down by the Matrix and the fact that our world's ran by satanic pedophiles. But he was like, you have to let it go. You can't control it. You have to trust God. And remember that God will make things right.
Yes.
No one's going to get away with anything. Right?
Nope.
Let it go. Stop trying to control it. And that was the beginning of the breakthrough for me. And I started to trust God. And also I realized and started to remember that life is not all bad, and to be grateful. I'm grateful for family. I'm grateful for good health, right? And nature. There's nothing wrong with nature. Nature is beautiful. There's all kinds of good things. The first pro of being a conspiracy theorist is that it will bring you closer to God. At the end of every conspiracy is the truth that God exists, that Christ is king, and judgment is coming upon the earth to the evildoers. It is, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. If you look at stuff like flat earth, they're trying to hide the fact that the earth is flat. Why? Because a firmament above the earth, and it being flat, stationary, immovable, 4 corners, pressed down like a seal, means that God exists. There's a creator. And that's why they want you to think that space is real. No, it goes straight to God. You look at Tartaria and the free energy and the fact that there was this place called the Land of Jesus on the old maps, Terra de Isu, all over the place. And they hid that history. They removed that. They removed Tartaria. All of that points to Christ. All of it. You will get closer to Jesus.
You know, the longer I listen, the more I agree.
1911, Procter & Gamble took a chemical they were using to make soap and convinced America to eat it. They called it Crisco.
What?
They paid doctors to recommend it. They printed cookbooks and gave them away free. They built a generation of women who believed butter was killing their families and seed oil was saving them. That seed oil is industrial, hexane extracted, bleached, and oxidized before it ever hits the shelf, drives the silent inflammation behind heart disease, autoimmune conditions, depression, infertility, and the cancer rates that exploded in the exact decades seed oil consumption exploded. Then a researcher named Ansel Keys cherry-picked data from 22 countries, kept the 7 that fit his theory, and convinced America that saturated fat caused heart disease. The food pyramid was built on his fraud, and the chronic disease epidemic in this country is not a mystery. It is a marketing campaign that worked. Real fat.
I use saturated beef fat.
Real eggs, real butter are the real solutions. The way that humans used to eat 10,000 years before a soap company took over. Yeah.
A solar flare just blacked out radio across the entire Atlantic Ocean, and now NOAA is saying that a geomagnetic storm is hitting Earth tonight. And that could make the northern lights visible across 18 different states, so you want to make sure you don't miss it. They're also saying that it just launched a burst of plasma into space at over 1,000,000 miles per hour, and that is what is heading towards Earth right now. Hello? Whenever that plasma slams into Earth's magnetic field later tonight, it can not only mess with just GPS signals, but also affect satellites and even stress the power grids. NOAA just put out a map of where the aurora could be visible tonight, and I'm gonna put it on screen now so that you can screenshot it if you don't want to miss it. Hopefully, whenever you're watching this video right now, it's the latest version, but it includes Oregon, Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, New York, and Maine.
Planet Earth's biggest show is happening right now, the Northern Lights. Space weather forecasters, they say this could be one of the brightest displays of the year.
The best time to make sure that you go look is going to be between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. tonight, no matter what time zone you're in. If you are in any of the states on the map, make sure you go outside, look north, and get away from all of the lights. Guys, make sure that you get photos and drop them in the comments on this video so that we can all see them with you.
Anyone seeing this in the US? Please drop a comment.
In the mountains of northern Persia, in the 11th century, a man named Hassan-i Sabah seized the fortress so high and so remote that it was considered unassailable. He called it Alamut, the eagle's nest, from where he built something that medieval world had never encountered. A highly trained and deeply initiated order of operatives whose reach extended across the entire Islamic world and beyond. Sultans feared them. Crusader kings negotiated with them. The Pope received their emissaries. They were called the Nizari Ismailis. The word assassin came later from the Arabic Hashashin. Historians still debate exactly what it referred to. The popular story of drugged recruits was certainly propaganda spread by their enemies to discredit them. The truth was more interesting. Hassan-i Sabah was not simply a political operator. He was a theologian and a mystic. His order were initiatory, built on layers of esoteric knowledge, revealed progressively as members advanced through ranks. At the outer level, his followers were devout Ismaili Muslims. At the inner levels, they were taught something the outer world was never permitted to hear. The highest initiates were reportedly taught that all religious law was a veil, that beneath every exotic tradition lay an esoteric reality that made the outer forms irrelevant. This wasn't your usual nihilism. It was Gnostic logic, carried to its furthest point. They maintained diplomatic relationship with Knight Templar that puzzled and disturbed everyone around them. Two initiator orders operating in the same territory, apparently finding more common ground with each other, that with the conventional power surrounding them. Alamut fell to Mongols in 1256. The library Hassan-i Sabah spent decades building was burned. What was in it was never recovered.
The Brotherhood of Persia. What?
The longer you stay alone, the less chance you have to realize that vision of life that pushes you toward staying locked in. And that's actually the most terrifying thing about being born as an individual. The more you stay out of the crowd, the more unhappy you will be. I'll make it clear through a simple mathematical geometric progression. Imagine a sequence of numbers appearing one digit at a time, which means that for each digit we have a 10% chance, right? Right. Let's say in the first minute a 4 appears, 10% probability. In the second, an 8 appears, and again, a 10% chance for that single digit. But the probability of receiving that specific sequence, 48, was already down to 1%. After another minute, a 2 appears. Now we have 482. The probability of that exact sequence, 0.1%. With each additional digit, the uniqueness increases geometrically. The same principle applies to you. The more time you spend consciously shaping yourself, refining your values, questioning the infantile assumptions you were fed, building internal structure, the more unique your configuration becomes. And just to make it obvious, to make a real connection with people, the kind that will lead you to be truly understood and socially accepted, so that would lead you to the state of happiness, you need to have the same sequence of these digits. So you can have that attitude match. But here's the curse. The more unique you are, the statistical probability of encountering a perfectly corresponding structure just vanishes. This is why people with copy-paste worldviews find belonging so easily. Their numbers in the sequence were shown with the highest probability due to their surroundings. Their keys and locks were manufactured in the same institutional factory that churns out identical plastic toys just to make them fit. And it doesn't mean they're right or wrong. They're all just interchangeable, just like Lego bricks. But for you, even a slight deviation in your metaphysical doctrine alters the trajectory of your next numbers. What appears insignificant now becomes a decisive wall later. So you're not just lonely, you're mathematically improbable for those matches.
Some people, they're happy to be alone.
I'm a believer in geomancy. I've seen it work. In my building trades, I have seen what are called dowsers at work.
Dowsers.
We had a building site there where I was going to build this barn. This guy gets out and he takes out 2 swing rods and he starts walking with the swing rods, holding them in front of him over each of the stakes I had driven in the ground. He's walking, they're just kind of gently swaying back and forth. And I knew that the water main came into the property somewhere along there. So this guy, he goes walking over towards the driveway. All of a sudden, it looked like almost as if somebody had grabbed the ends of those swing rods, yanked them into an X, and then they bent, literally bending down. And then he took a couple of steps off, and they relaxed, straightened up, and went back to just... Then what he did was he walked in a zigzag fashion, and every time he crossed where the water main came in, he'd get a response, and I could see it. Then he turns to me and says, "You want to try it?" "Sure, why not?" He gives me those swing rods, and I go walking. I stepped across that point, and I felt like I got, you know how you like if you get a strong charge of static electricity? That's what it felt like.
Tell me what you guys think about this video, because I've talked about this a lot, you guys. I've talked about this a lot. That David Wilcock video, he said people would get powers.
I think this
Apparently there will be some people who become incredible superheroes right off the bat.
And I see a lot of videos like this.
I've seen that video before. But what do you think, though? Let me know in the comments. Who do you think he is?
Yo, you see this tripod? This a ring light. That's power, bro. I never knocked the ring light down like that before. One more time for the people that's new to the page. Ain't nobody out here but me, bro. It's just me. We got powers, for real. It's just is what it is, bro.
We got power.
Power, true power does not come just from the muscles, not just from the blood. So that isn't part of it. It's that understanding too. And a zoo is a beautiful example of that. In my opinion.
And I knew he like
There's an actual design towards projecting. So take a look.
Look at that.
Oh. When?
Notice that it is projecting literally outward, okay?
No way.
Literally outward from where I am sitting. We're not seeing it happen anywhere else. We're not seeing it shoot anywhere else. And you see, as I'm sitting there doing this, just waving my hands back and forth, you're getting more movement like that. Look.
I'm going to name a few conspiracies, and if you think they're real, you believe in them, just say yes, and if you think no, no.
Okay.
We landed on the moon.
No.
Bigfoot is real.
Yes.
There's a reptilian race running the world.
Yes.
Mermaids and mermen are real.
Possibly.
There are underground and underwater cities.
Yes.
Antarctica is an alien hub.
Yes.
The Earth is flat.
Most likely.
We are living in a simulation.
Yes.
The Illuminati run the world.
I don't think they're the top, but they're there, yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Yes.
9/11 was an inside job.
100%.
Birds are surveillance drones.
I mean, there's some.
Alexis Wilkins is a honeypot.
Yeah, I mean.
This is refreshing to hear.
The best knowledge right now what's happening on the planet.
What's happening?
The elite are all about transcendence and living forever and the secrets of the universe, and they want to know all this. Some are good, some are bad, some are a mix. But the good ones don't ever want to organize. The bad ones didn't want to organize because they lust after power. Powerful consciousnesses don't want to dominate other people. They want to empower them, so they don't tend to get together until things are really late in the game. Then they come together. Evil's always defeated because good is so much stronger. And we're on this planet, and Einstein's physics showed it, Max Planck's physics showed it, there's at least 12 dimensions. And now that's why all the top scientists and billionaires are coming out saying it's a false hologram. It is. Now, there's like this sub-transmission zone below the third dimension that's just turned over to the most horrible things is what it resonates to. And it's trying to get up into the third dimension that's just a basic level consciousness to launch into the next levels. And our species is already way up at the fifth, sixth dimension, consciously, our best people. But there's this big war trying to, like, basically destroy humanity because humanity has free will, and there's a decision to which level we want to go to. We have free will, so evil's allowed to come and contend, and not just good. And the elites themselves believe they're racing using human technology to try to take our believes that the first artificial intelligence will be a supercomputer based on the neuron activities of the hive mind of humanity with billions of people wired into it with the Internet of Things. And so all of our thoughts go into it, and we're actually building a computer that has real neurons in real time that's also psychically connected to us, that are organic creatures, so that they will have current prediction powers, future prediction powers, a true crystal ball. But the big secret is, once you have a crystal ball and know the future, you can add stimuli beforehand and make decisions that control the future. And so then it's the end of consciousness and free will for individuals, which is TV. Right. But this is an interdimensional force that wants to influence us to build something that absorbs us and kills us, rather than the divine free will we're given to build something much better that empowers the species. So the species is now making a decision.
Where are you getting
its
this
entire
from?
future.
Where are you getting this from?
That's what it is.
But where are you getting it
I
from?
know, from looking at all the data, researching it, studying it, watching the enemy. That's the big decision that humanity is now
watching the enemy
got before us. You get someplace finally in deep research where it's what every culture already said, what everybody already knew, what they're telling you in movies like Prometheus, what the elite admit the New York Times they believe in. Everything there that isn't naturally occurring.
Who is that?
I mean, if you actually read what all the globalists say, they are getting not off-world, but interdimensional communications to then build this system that we see lowers our IQ, makes us live less. All the studies show screen time, all the computers lowering IQs, lowering for...
This girl had so many demons, she couldn't handle all of them coming out. She flipped upside down and tried to bang herself against the bed to try to kill herself. Opens her eyes, and there's a man in her body. I said, what is your name? He said, my name is Jason. I said, that's a stupid name for a demon. He said, you the one stupid, I'm human. He said, the demons couldn't get the job done. They too weak for y'all, so I came to kill her myself. Satan was getting witches, humans, to lay their bodies down. It's called astral projection. The girl is sitting on the floor, we're just ministering to her. All of a sudden, she does this. I'm going to assume that you are too ignorant to understand who I am when it comes to being a son of God. This will be the last time you do this. I said, you understand what I'm saying? He said, I understand. He said,
not happening again.
I said, I hope so for your life's sake. And then this is what happened.
The Fallen.
I am honored.
Did you know there's a pattern carved into ancient Egyptian granite that appears in Buddhist temples, Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks, and Islamic art across the world? A pattern these cultures never shared with each other. It's called the Flower of Life. 19 overlapping circles in perfect harmony, found in the Osirian at Abydos, etched into Japanese temple beams, painted on Roman floors, and scratched into synagogue walls. The same exact design, drawn by hand separated by thousands of years and miles. But here's where it gets mystical. Hidden inside this pattern are the building blocks of reality itself. At its center lies the seed of life, 7 circles representing creation's 7 days. Expand it further and you'll find Metatron's cube, containing all 5 platonic solids that Plato said were the elements of existence. Ancient mystics believed this wasn't just art, it was a map, a blueprint your pineal gland recognizes, a geometric key that activates inner vision and connects you to universal consciousness. Maybe we didn't invent this pattern, maybe we keep remembering it. Like follow, comment, or share if this awakens something in you.
So let me get this straight. A mass surveillance company now has access to our health records and food supply. Palantir just signed a $300 million contract with the USDA to monitor the entire U.S. food supply in real time. At the same time, they hold a $90 million contract with the Department of Health and Human Services that gives them access to every major federal health agency. And on this map, you can see all the major health systems, including universities that Palantir has ties with. The most powerful surveillance company in the world is now embedded inside 2 of the systems that keep Americans alive. Now, one private company might know what everyone eats, what medications they take, what they've been diagnosed with, and what farms grow the food you depend on to survive. And I'll remind everyone again that this is the same Palantir that has built the deportation tools used by ICE, and they help the Israeli military in Gaza, and they hold active contracts with dozens of other federal agencies. The reason Palantir keeps building this in plain sight is because almost nobody is paying attention. Many people don't even know that they have money invested in Palantir through 401ks. They don't know what politicians are funding them, or how deeply embedded they are inside of the government. We are trying to change that. You can use the Conscious app to surface hidden data on Palantir and hundreds of other companies, so the things that get buried become impossible to ignore.
There are more pyramids in Sudan.
You know, I wish to God that this man wanted to invest in healing humanity.
Dan and Egypt, yet nobody talks about it. Let me show you. They belong to one of Africa's greatest forgotten civilizations, the Kingdom of Kush. And one of these pyramids you can only enter underwater. I'm Cleopatra, trained archaeologist, and this is a story we tried to film for a documentary, but it was always too dangerous. History calls them the Black Pharaohs, though they called themselves the pharaohs of Egypt. They invaded in 747 BC and ruled for nearly a century. Few realized they were actually the ones to revive pyramid building after Egypt abandoned it to prove they were the rightful heirs. And my favorite fact, one pyramid can only be reached by scuba diving. Archaeologists dived beneath the pyramid of Pharaoh Nastasen and found gold foil in the flooded burial chamber. They also found this shabti, a small figure buried to serve the pharaoh in the afterlife. Decades of civil war and biases meant almost nobody has heard of them. We obsess over Egypt, yet Sudan built twice as many pyramids. Should they be just as famous?
Yes, they should be famous, but for their own art. Egypt's own style is different, which is, what sets it apart.
In some cases, people were called to do very scary things. I'm going to buck the system and shake my fist at the government and be a rebel. And then there were other people where maybe depending upon what the Lord was doing in their life, they didn't want to wear the masks and play along any more than you did. And it took great humility to do that. And it was because God was doing something different for them. And that got me thinking, if someone in the end times plays the role of, I'm going to be on one of those war horses and I'm going to be with a sword in my hand and I'm going to face the enemy and I'm going to probably lose my life on the battlefield. Well, they're going to need a different kind of training than the people that die in the bed in the nursing home.
3 main
God bless you.
stages in the alchemical process. The first was digestion, and you put it in a liquid that would break it down. This was also associated with baptism. It was called baptism by water, and it would turn black. Then the next stage was distillation. You would heat it and it would turn into a steam, and then you could collect that steam and it would have within it the volatile chemicals, whether it be oils from an herb or oils from a metal that had been broken down by acids. The second stage associated with air, and it was always represented by birds in alchemical texts. And then the last stage was calcination or fire, where you burnt the original material down to its ashes and you extract the secret salts out of them, which was the hidden mana, or these monoatomics. And this was all part of the alchemical process. And you find this even in the myths of Osiris. First, he's depicted as green, which represented green vegetation. He's chopped up. He's thrown into the Nile, which is the water stage.
Right.
Right. Isis then goes to find him. She turns herself into a bird, starts flying around him. That was distillation. That was the air stage. And then she lights oil lamps and incense, puts them back together, and raises them, right, to a new form.
Right.
Well, that's the alchemical process.
Sure.
It's the same with the story of Noah. It's the same science being depicted in all of these ancient texts. And the people that were passing on these stories were preserving these alchemical sciences.
The Epic of Gilgamesh, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a theory that he was buried in Iraq. And in the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan,
When they found it back in the 90s, like
during the
Gernhoff
GWAT,
one. Yeah.
they apparently had like rummaged it, and there's a video on like a Nokia from 2008 or 2009. It's only really sent in the Epstein files, but there is a couple copies of it out there because I know a couple people who have it on hard drives backed up, but apparently it's been like completely scrubbed.
A non-trained eye, it looks like it could be, oh, this is official. Unidentified humanoid. Designation N7. Non-human biological entity. January 12th, 1994. 23:17 hours, which is military time. It gives the coordinates, where it happened, at Area 51, the story in this document. And to basically summarize it, some kind of entity that looked like a cat popped up on the property and interacted with people. And I can't remember if it like ran away or left, and it just kind of like, from what I understand, it was dwelling on the property. It was like pitching a tent and squatting or what, but the entity spoke. I am an explorer. I was observing your planet. Your species has great potential, but is self-destructive. I cannot interfere. That is our directive. I will return, but not soon. Medical examination, no signs of disease or injury. Body temperature slightly below man average. Skeletal structure similar to human, but denser. Feline ear appendages. I think they were trying to paint like this idea of like a human hybrid, right? You see this and it's like, wow, interesting. And then you look at the top and you have the declassified May 8th, 2026. But if you look at the left-hand corner, and you zoom in, you see security classification, it says top secret, and when you look at that insignia, you can't make out what any of those words are. It looks like almost like a different language, almost like it's AI.
100%.
100%, bro. Like when you zoom in, when you super zoom in on this, I can still see the word secret when I zoom in, top secret right here. But when I look at that emblem, I cannot make out any of these words whatsoever.
And none of the files were actually top secret. Like everything was only in the secret category. Like they haven't actually revealed top secret or like next level stuff.
So that's an important distinction right there, is that there's a difference between top secret and secret. There's different layers and levels to this. So this, I believe to be fake. You believe to be fake. Jack, I'm sure. Do you think it's fake? Just give you a chance to say, yeah.
What if aliens are the DNA splicing the fallen angels did?
Are there vampires in the French Quarter?
I was going to get to that, but since we're here, let's do it.
I don't think so. I got into a very heated exchange with this woman. She's like, I know I encountered a real vampire in New Orleans because my tour guide led me down this dark alleyway and we went into this dark room and there were people there and they just filled me with the most unsettling feeling. And I knew that they were real vampires. Ooh. And I'm like, there are no dark alleys in New Orleans. Like we don't have alleys the way that like Chicago has alleys. And then I realized she's talking about the dungeon. She walked down the entrance corridor to the dungeon.
She's clearly not the only person that has had these crazy experiences that they cannot explain.
Do you know how many people in the French Quarter are crazy drunk?
What if they don't drink?
You're still primed. Their brain wants it. They are much more likely to interpret an experience through a paranormal lens.
Makes sense.
The only cell that is important that kills cancer, 99.9% of oncologists will say, we don't pay any attention to that.
Huh?
That does seem ass backwards. Why do you ignore the one cell that fights cancer? That's exactly. That is the key element in your body that we've been missing for 50 years. Call any random oncologist, not to shame them, primary care physician, pick up the phone and said, you do a CBC, correct? Yes. Can you define what a CBC is? A complete blood count. You take a blood and you look for... Yeah, the blood screen that everyone Blood gets. screen. Yeah. For whether you're anemic or not anemic. Yeah. People understand that, right? Red blood cells. And you see these red blood cells. And you give chemotherapy and radiation. And you ask, what do you look for? Well, we look to see if you're anemic. So we can give you this drug that Amgen makes called Epogen. We look to see whether your platelets have gone down. So we can give you a platelet transfusion. We look to see whether your neutrophils have gone down so that you don't get an infection called neutropenic fever. So we give you this drug, Epogen. Well, the problem is, does red blood cells cure cancer? No. Does platelets cure cancer? No. Does neutrophils kill cancer? No. What kills cancer? The natural killer cells and T cells. So in that CBC, there's a thing called the lymphocytes. The only cell that kills cancer. Do you look at that? No.
So this is Rose Edith Kelly, the first wife of, you guessed it, Aleister Crowley. You might guess what she was famous for. 1904, they're going on their honeymoon, and then Edith finds herself going into a trance-like state. She does this multiple times, and then Crowley starts to listen to the spirit behind these trances, because that's what he realizes what's going on. Comes to the conclusion that this is the Egyptian god Horus, according to Rose. Aleister wants to test the spirit, so he allows Edith to lead him to the local museum, where she takes him to an exhibit. Exhibit number 666, with a very specific Egyptian god, Ra, also associated with Horus. It's later revealed to Aleister that the god that is speaking through his wife to him is not Horus or Ra himself, is actually a messenger, or what the church would refer to as an angel, Aiwass. Now, when you look up Aiwass, the first thing to come up is this thing. This is not Aiwass. This is Lamb. This is a different situation altogether. They were only together for 7 years before he had Rose committed to a psych ward, where she remained for the rest of her life due to severe alcohol dementia. I'd say those trances did a number on her.
The CIA has the most craziest document about astral projection on their website.
Yeah. It's called
Straight Witchcraft.
the Gateway Intermediate Workbook.
The Gateway. And this is on CIA.gov.
Yeah, so this is a disclosed government document where it talks about how to energetically travel and how to use your own, they've got their own word choice for this, but how to use your own energy field to visit people. And so this is astral projection 101, but it's cloaked in energetic sciences. It's not a new religion, it's an ancient religion, but it's being rebranded for this generation. And so this particular document is very popular on TikTok right now because it takes all the energetic sciences that's trying to remove the spirituality component from it, but it's training you how to body scan, how to access parts of your soul, how to access, to shut your soul down so you can sleep at night. And it's all consciousness, energy, vibration. It's like the triangle of witchcraft and sorcery that is being called science. But this is the consciousness revival that is taking place amongst Gen Z.
Right.
Wow.
There's a secret part of the Great Pyramid that you go and you stand up into. And if you hum, it resonates all the way to the top of the pyramid and back down. And it literally lights your heart on fire. My heart was like whoosh, whoosh. My heart chakra was being broken open and I'm feeling this energy and it's just so strong. When I got home from this trip, I had knowledge that I didn't even know I had. I literally downloaded so much knowledge. Hathor, Isis. I all of a sudden knew who these Egyptian gods were. all of a sudden I know things.
Okay, I will put y'all on. But we're going to talk about something a little bit different. You guys know the story of Moses in the Bible, right? And I'm sure you also know about his Egyptian brother Ramses, who also went on to be Pharaoh himself. He was actually the one to initially let the Israelite slaves go, but then tried to get them back again. It was a whole thing. Let's talk about some things that you probably didn't know about Ramses II. Similar to most kings of that time and onwards, he had about 200 wives and concubines. But did you know that 4 out of those 200 were his daughters that he also impregnated? Yeah. Apparently, the I word was rampant and extremely common in those times. I mean, I really shouldn't be surprised, but how disgusting is that? Y'all, this man had over 162 children. How? And most of them unalived. Like, most of them did not make it past the first year of life. Probably because y'all doing the diddly-do with your sister. Like,
right.
What? Strange thing that I noticed in history is that it says that he unalived at, I believe, 96 from arthritis and other diseases, but we know from the Bible that he drowned in the Red Sea when God bridged the gap for the waters to go back to normal after Moses and the Israelites crossed it. He's even mentioned drowning in the Quran, I believe, as well. Y'all, I don't even know history anymore. They be just making things up. As always, make sure you like and follow and comment down below if you want me to cover King Tut next, because that's another crazy one.
What happened?
It's gross. And the ancient families and the bloodlines still practice incestuous marriage now, keeping their bloodline pure and keeping wealth in their family.
Happens if we go into what's been referred to by astronomers as a bombardment epoch, where you have this fragmenting object, whether it's asteroidal or comet or a hybrid in between them, this fragmenting creating multiple impactors, and then those are littering the inner solar system, and particularly the plane of the ecliptic that the orbit of the Earth is found in. And we go through a period like what appears to have occurred throughout the history of this planet, is that the impacts record does not appear to be uniformly distributed through time. It seems to be clustered.
Are we living in the end times? Let's look at the Bible. With the entire world focused on the Middle East, I figured I'd look to the Bible for answers. This is an 1884 Catholic Bible that says Palestine is the Holy Land, 1895 Reference Bible that says Palestine is the Holy Land, and then an 1812 print that contains a write-up on Judea, Palestine, or the Holy Land. If you look at what the Bible says, it seems that they're trying to erase Palestine. I want to read one excerpt for you. Palestine, which comprehends the ancient country of Canaan, was occupied by 9 tribes of Israel. Israel is a tribe. Its many advantages and happy situation induced the neighboring and powerful kingdoms to attempt its subjection. Most of them succeeded in reducing to obedience and slavery the peaceable inhabitants. They have treated the conquered with utmost barbarity, not sparing old or young, women or helpless children. 180 girls aged 7 to 12 were just blown up at a school in Iran. We all know that in the end times, God's chosen people will be persecuted nigh unto death. As I scan the Bible throughout the years, I can see they tried to erase it already. This is a 1950s translation. Isaiah chapter 15, verse 29, Philistia. Verse 31, Philistia. 1895 translation. Isaiah 14:29, Palestinia. 31, Palestinia. In 55 years.
I thought Palestine wasn't there during Jesus' time. I mean, the name.
They changed the name. You can see it right here. Are we living in the end times? Let's look at the Bible. The prophet Amos is referring to the children of Israel right here. Though they climb up to heaven, thence shall I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. And I will set mine eyes upon them for evil and not for good. The Lord God of hosts is he that toucheth the land, and it shall melt, and all that dwell therein shall mourn. Look at what's going on in the Middle East right now. Think to yourself, did they get something twisted? Have they tried to erase God's chosen people from the history books permanently? Have they altered the Bible? Read the news and think. The answers are within you.
So, do you think he knows who God's truly chosen people is according to the Bible?
You know about Buzz Aldrin's experience in Antarctica? In 2016, shortly after arriving, he became seriously unwell and had to be emergency evacuated straight to New Zealand. While he was there, a tweet appeared on his account saying, "We are all in danger. It is evil itself."
When the Jews were living in Egypt, those were real entities God was judging there. He wasn't judging blocks of wood or stone. Those were spirit entities.
Yeah, in Exodus 13, God makes it clear. He says, on the night of the Passover, I will execute judgment on the gods of Egypt. So he was not saying I'm going to destroy their statues. He meant there would be judgment passed on these entities worshipped by these fallen angels or demons or demons worshipped by the Egyptians.
Caribbean that he takes people to with a fucking temple on it. A place in West Palm Beach. We got pictures of him doing weird shit. He's in that enclave neighborhood in Ohio as well. He's connected to some of the most powerful people in the world, and he's a pedo. And we can, oh my God, we can connect him to Khashoggi.
I'm not Khashoggi. His actual name in Arabic is Khashoggi. Saudi arms dealer, Saudi man about the world, fixer, friend of kings and presidents and prime ministers, the uncle of Jamal Khashoggi, who was the Washington Post columnist whacked by the Saudi crown prince.
I believe he's a cousin to Dodi Fayed too.
No
Did I just say
way.
that out loud? Can we Google that?
Is that true?
Did I make that up? I might have made that up. Khashoggi related to Dodi Fayed.
So, when...
He's the maternal uncle.
No way.
Yeah.
The Fayeds are Egyptians.
Yeah, uncle and nephew. I'll pull it up for you. Right here.
Saudi arms dealer Adnan Khashoggi was the maternal uncle of Dodi Fayed, making them uncle and nephew rather than cousins. Dodi Fayed's mother was Samira Khashoggi,
Oh
who was
my
the sister
God.
of Adnan
Like
Khashoggi.
actual uncle and nephew.
And Dodi Fayed was the man that Princess Diana was dating, who was killed alongside her in Paris.
I never knew that.
Continue, John.
So
It's all tied together.
it is.
It's all tied.
The world's not a big place.
Yeah.
We can.
It's like, those Russian nesting dolls. There's always another.
Connect them to arms deals. We can connect them to all this different shit. And this has been happening right under our fucking nose. And then they're like, oh my God, look at all the people he's got so much blackmail on. Oh my God, we can't just like... We can't just like arrest them. That's what they say to themselves. I'm not saying that that's what they should have said, but that's what they say to themselves.
In the beginning, before recorded time, there were beings from a distant world.
They came from a distant world.
A place beyond the reach of human comprehension.
A realm beyond the reach of mortal men.
Known as Nibiru.
Seeking dominion over a planet not their own.
Their home was in peril, and they needed a new place to secure their own future.
Their arrival heralded an age of wonders and terrors.
These beings arrived on Earth seeking resources and a place to establish a new civilization.
A time when the fate of humanity hung in the balance. From the depths of space, beyond the reaches of our understanding, they come.
These beings, tall and majestic, were known to the ancient Sumerians as
the Anunnaki.
The Anunnaki.
The
Fallen
Anunnaki,
angels.
mysterious overlords who descended from the heavens. They bestowed knowledge and wrought marvels beyond comprehension, or so the tablets tell.
Ancient beings, masters of technology and genetics.
Though they were called by many names across different cultures.
Their origins shrouded in the mists of time.
But could these beings be more than mere myth? Could they be ancient visitors, perhaps even early humans who achieved the pinnacle of technological advancement and returned to observe their origins?
Descending upon our planet in vessels of light, they bring with them the secrets of the cosmos and the promise of untold knowledge.
To harness the Earth's resources and labor for their grand projects, they needed assistance.
What if the gods weren't myths? What if they walked among us, shaping the very fabric of our reality?
They mixed their own DNA with a primate of the Earth, and thus the first humans were born.
As the world stands on the brink of a new era, the Anunnaki reveal themselves once more.
The skies today are still a stage for the unexplained. lights that dance with impossible grace, craft that defy our understanding of physics, sightings captured on film by the unexpecting and the incredulous.
Their intentions, veiled in secrecy, spark fear and wonder in equal measure. Are they here to usher in a new age of enlightenment, or do they harbor darker motives?
This may be the most incredible film you will ever see, but the facts that will be presented are true.
All right.
You actually come from the ninth dimension. That's stuff like an inverted gospel, because it's like you come from the Pleiades. That's where I came from. That's what I thought. You come from some intergalactic dimension, and you have essentially chosen to incarnate on Earth because Earth as a planet is stuck in 3D consciousness. And in order for the whole universe to come into source alignment, every moving part of the universe therefore has to up level. So it was like the idea that, and it's so funny, like the language, it's like a body, right? It's just like how we talk in Christianity, like the whole universe is a body, and Earth was basically a sick cancer cell that was infecting everything else. And so there were those of us that come from the stars that made the decision to come here and
out of your
fix it.
goodness,
Yeah,
you chose to come here to
I'm so
fix.
divine. I'm so enlightened.
Wow.
I'm so high vibe that I just had to come to Earth to fix the problem and to help Gaia. That's what New Agers call Earth. They believe the consciousness of Earth is named Gaia. So that's like a goddess.
And just for audience
Nature.
sake, you mentioned source. That's God, right?
Source is
alignment.
God, which you are also source. So you are also God, but God is also everything, but God is also nothing. It's like, it's just such like a house.
Make up your mind.
Of cards when you really like put all the ideologies next to each other.
Now, Jesus is God.
Like it can't hold because it doesn't make sense. It all contradicts itself, but it sounds really cool and it sounds really spiritual and it sounds really enlightened. So kind of just roll with it and whatever makes most sense that day. So that's what it was for me with the Starseed Doctrine. I took to it immediately because it just like resonated that, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I can get on board with that. And it kind of just illustrates how desperate I was, like how sad I was that I would read something, frankly, that ridiculous and believe it, that I had come from the Pleiades and incarnated in a human body so that I could save the world, basically. Like I'm Jesus. Again, counterfeit gospel, perverted body language. Like it's wild how the devil has to literally steal. He doesn't create anything. He just corrupts what already exists and turns it into his own perverted narrative. And that's what that was.
The black nobility started what's called I fondi, the funds. In other words, they started like trust funds in Venice. That's where all the birth certificates are held. It has to be held on water. Can't be held on the land because law of the land trumps the law of the water, right? So they operate on a very, very satanic system, which is the left-hand path, not the right-hand path. This is the path we're on. Truth, love, compassion for your fellow man, charity.
That's the right side?
That's the right side. Purity. This is the way you ascend back to heaven on Jacob's ladder. The left-hand path, which most of you Hollywood folks out the back here are following, all these Satanists with their child sacrifices and adrenochrome parties and what have you, they are on the left. Path. Yeah,
Isn't
they're
that
going
crazy
down
that
to hell.
They're on the left too? Like literally?
Yeah, Democrats.
Yeah.
Left. The black nobility have jumped into the puppet master and grabbed control of both hands. Red shift, blue shift. Republicans are red, Democrats are blue. Neither of them gives a shit about you. So that's what they're doing.
The right is your left and left is your right.
There's actually vampires trapped in the attic of the Ursuline convent.
Let's speak about that.
The Filles Cassettes, the coffin girls, were impoverished girls in 18th century France. And the Order of the Ursuline Sisters presents them with an opportunity for a new life in New Orleans. One of the nuns on board that ship, a woman by the name of Sister Gertrude, she brought something onto that boat she had no business bringing on board.
What did she bring on?
We're never told. We don't know. And as a result, some of the girls died en route. And when it does arrive, the young women who are seen, they are gaunt and pale and gray in the face, and they are quickly ushered out of public view. There's far too many boxes on board that ship and not nearly enough brides to accompany them. Some New Orleanians say that Sister Gertrude snuck a vampire on board. And now it's like a voyage of the Demeter sort sort of a situation, right? Some of the girls died en route, came back as vampires, or they linger inside the attic of the Ursuline convent in the casket-shaped boxes. And so they say to this very night, if you're walking down Charter Street all alone in the dead of night, and you look up and you see one or more of those dormer window shutters open, you need to turn around and walk away in the direction that you came from.
Whoa! The originals. If you know, you know.